Alright, so this is a quick tip to know you're on the right track when you're a believer, like heading in the right direction. I'm not saying you're on the money, but okay, so we know that the world is like Satan's domain, right? We can see everything's going wrong because of sin in the world. So everything that Satan presents is a twisted form of what God presents. So look at the world. We now have Pride Month, a whole month of celebrating Pride. So look at that. What's the opposite of that? God hates pride. So in Proverbs 6 verse 16 it says, "These 6 things does the Lord hate." This is apart from sin, which is transgression of the law, but this is included in things that God hates. Yet, yes, 7 are an abomination to him. So this is interesting. So, a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that are swift to mischief, a false witness that speaks lies. Oh, that's 6. So what's the 7th? So to figure out the 7th thing that is an abomination to God, you have to keep reading in Proverbs. And you come across in chapter 16, verse 5. "Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to God." So that's reiterating that pride, it's mentioned twice as something that God hates. So the world celebrates pride. You want to be a true follower of Yeshua? You can't be prideful at all. And this is hard because it goes way deeper than you realize. I've had to learn this myself even recently. Like, it can be really subtle. It can be, you have to really search your heart and pray for God to reveal it to you sometimes, because some things are so deeply ingrained from the world that you don't even realize. That's scary. So God hates pride, number 1. What else? I had a list of things I was thinking of. Yeah, okay, so what is really promoted right now? Self-love to the point of narcissism, and that is encouraged. You won't hear that. You won't hear it called narcissism, but that's what it is. If you're obsessed with yourself, you're in love with yourself, you are making yourself an idol, you are making yourself a god. What do the commandments say? The first 2 commandments. No other gods, 1. 2, no idols. Don't worship anything or anyone except God. And you won't want to admit this, but that's what you're doing when you spend your whole time worrying about how you look, making yourself beautiful to attract people, and you say, "Oh, it's just for me." If it's just for you and then there were no mirrors, why would you wouldn't be doing that? So stop. Yeah, makeup, colored hair. I know that sounds so old-fashioned and strict and legalistic, whatever. It ties into the commandments, which we do need to keep. They are God's law. They are instruction. Okay? Like, anyone that doesn't keep them doesn't have the love of God in them. That's what the word says. John 5 verse 42. "But I know you, that you have not the love of God in you." How do we know we love God? John 14:15. "If you love me, keep my commandments." It's as simple as that. Sorry, I was trying to find the right spot. So in 1 John chapter 2 verse 3 to 5. Alright. "And hereby we know that we know him, if we keep his commandments. He that says, 'I know him,' and keeps not his commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. But who keeps his word, in him is the love of God perfected. Hereby we know that we are in him." That's very simple. You keep the commandments and you are one of God's children and you love God. If not, you're going on your own understanding, your own righteousness. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. And it's very plain. Yeah, so in the same same vein, self-love, you're exalting yourself. You're worshipping yourself. If if most of your time is spent on your appearance, and that's where your worth and your identity comes from. And I know for some people it comes from insecurity, most people. So that's a hard thing to come to terms with. Crap. Sorry, I keep losing my train of thought. So yeah, instead of exalting ourselves, we need to humble ourselves. That's what the word says. We have to be ready to give up everything in our life to follow God. You don't get to pick, I'm going to live in the world and be worldly, or I'm still God's child. No, you either follow God or you follow the world. So you love yourself more, you love the world more, you love things more, or you love God more. And you have to be prepared to love God more than everyone. Your family, your children, your best friend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife, everyone. God is first. And guess what? He was first for you. So that's fair. Okay? The reason it's a narrow path is because most people aren't going to be prepared to give up anything. Most people won't be prepared to give up their favorite t-shirt, let alone everything. I was very close. I was very much like this. Even a couple months ago, I was like, I can't give up my van. I love my van. It's the best thing ever, and it's my home, and I was very attached to it. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, I'm ready to give that up if I need to. God, if you send me and I'm not taking that car with me, I'm getting rid of it. I don't care. I'm following you. And this isn't a prideful thing that I'm saying. It's the truth of where my heart is. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too. That's what it is. Everyone wants to claim godliness, but not actually do what's required. And I'm speaking bluntly and harshly because, well, not harshly. You're going to probably perceive it as harsh, but because you need to be told, and either you'll hear or you'll forbear. So, if you hear, it'll prick your heart to go and learn the truth. If not, I just pray that if you get to the point where you still haven't accepted that you need to keep the commandments and the royal law, which is loving your neighbour as yourself, which is rebuking their sin, transgression of the law, 1 John 3:4, Leviticus 19:15 to 18. You will have a chance in tribulation to repent and turn to God. I would not recommend waiting till then. It's going to be literally World War III. It's coming very, very soon. It's nearly been 2,000 years since Yeshua was crucified, and that's when he's coming back. So, within a couple years, it's time to go and start reading this again. And the way you can start understanding it properly is not just reading it front to back. Everyone does that. Great. It doesn't mean anything. You need to have the spirit of truth to be understand it. How do you get the spirit of truth? John 14:15. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will give you another comforter, even the spirit of truth. Keep the commandments, spirit of truth. Then you understand. You will understand some things without doing that, but that's not it. Keeping the commandments, you have to do it literally. It's not just about, I intend to, or I can't because I'm a sinner. There's no excuse. You do it or you don't. You're God's child or you're not. You can't be in the middle. Revelation 3:15 to 16. If you're lukewarm, if you're not all for God, or complete atheist, he will spew you out of his mouth. That's pretty serious. That's one of the verses that clicked in my mind the start of this year. I was like, shit, I need to get right with God. I need to actually learn this word properly. I can't just claim spirituality and hope that I go to heaven one day. That's not enough. Faith is not enough. And